Hey everyone, it's Matt Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a 2023 Ford Mustang GT, and we're going to decide if you should buy one of these now, or if you should wait for the new 2024 Mustang. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Mustang. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions, just ask for John Jenks. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. You can also get a 10-speed automatic though. Power outputs are 450 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 15 around town and then 24 on the highway. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting off with the hood, you guys can see we've got the blacked out accent pieces there on either side and a very, very long hood. Coming down below, we've got the fishgill daytime running lights there, and you guys can see pretty bright headlights as well. And then we actually do have a fog lights down below with the turn signal section is what we'll call it. And then notice the grille all blacked out alongside the Mustang horse. And we've got a pretty aggressive front splitter here. And putting it all together, I love how this looks, especially with this red paint. It's pretty beautiful. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 255/40/19 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see with the wheel design, we've got a 5-spoke wheel all blacked out, which matches the theme of this particular Mustang. Now we've got a 5.0 badge here on the side. Notice the mirror caps blacked out. And then you guys can see here with the side skirts, also a really cool look. And putting it all together, this looks more like a Mustang than a Camaro, unlike the new Mustang. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock function or lock function, then the opening here for the trunk. Just press it a couple times, and then we have the Mustang there on the back. And then popping open the trunk, you guys can see storage space back here is actually pretty solid. The opening is not the largest, but it's what you expect with the muscle car. Now we have this low profile blacked out spoiler here. We've got the GT badge on the back, also blacked out. And then we've got these sequential taillights, really cool look. Parking sensors here at the bottom, and then look how aggressive the exhaust tips and diffuser are here at the very bottom. And then you guys will notice that the roof is painted black, and so the contrast between the blacked out elements on this and the red paint, I think, just look really sharp. Now taking a look at the front door panel here, you guys can see we've got really nice stitching here, and then notice kind of like perforated with the leather trim as well. And then we've got our window controls here, memory seat functionality. We also have blind spot monitoring for the mirrors. In the back, you guys can see we've got these nice leather seats perforated in the center portion. And if you guys are wondering, the reason I'm not getting back there is because legroom, pretty minimal. Headroom, also pretty minimal. That's what you get for the fastback design. And then this also has really nice front leather seats as well, as you can see here, perforated at the bottom portion. And then the seats are partially power adjustable, partially manually adjustable. And then of course we can see our 3-pedal layout at the bottom. Now here's a look at the steering wheel. We got nice leather trim all around, darker stitching there on the center portion to match everything. And then you get like your voice command controls, controls for the center stack, volume controls on the other side. This also does come with adaptive cruise control, and then you guys can see stuff for like the phone, radio, all of that. And then we have our regular stocks here on the back. We have this full digital gauge cluster here, and in the center there you can basically just scroll through to see different bits of info on the car. But the cool part trick with the Mustang is, first off, you can adjust the steering feel, which is a nice feature, but you can also adjust the drive mode, and being a full digital gauge cluster means that it'll fully change depending on what drive mode you put it in. I think the track one looks pretty cool. Drag strip just matches what you have in track basically, but let me know which drive mode, like gauge cluster look, you like the most. In reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. As for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with the screen itself is actually pretty solid. Obviously, this isn't Ford's like new giant unit they have in some of their vehicles, but it still works great. And we actually have a heated steering wheel as well as dual zone climate. We've got our analog radio controls just down below that, and then you guys can see analog controls for the climate system, then also for our heated and ventilated seats. And we got our cool stop-start button right here with our hazard lights. That's for your stability control, the steering feel, and then the drive mode select right next to that. So here's our shifter for that 6-speed manual. That's reverse, by the way, so you pull up and then put it over. And then, you know, as for the rest of the transmission, we'll talk about it more while driving it, but, you know, pretty notchy. Got a brake right next to it, some cup holders here, and then center console with some USB and 12-volt action. I actually have some nice like padding and stitching here on the dash, and then notice Mustang right there, and then opening up the glove box here, you guys can see decent amount of storage space inside. Now here's a window sticker for this 2023 Mustang. You guys can see this is a 401A equipment group, and this is rapid red for the color. But anyways, after all options, this one stickers for $52,265, which is a lot less expensive than that new Dark Horse. I did the price sheet that they released, and the one that I spec'd out came out to like, I think $80,000. It was crazy. Anyways, let's see how this drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors just do have blind spot monitoring. And throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, manual away! This is so funny, because if you guys follow the channel, you know that I recently, as in like, I think, what, 2 months ago, bought a GT 500, which is automatic only. So it's always interesting to drive a Mustang with a manual transmission, because I'm like, man, why does my GT 500 not have a manual transmission? That would be a cool thing to have. First off, at low speeds, the manual's pretty easy. I will say, if you're not an experienced manual driver, this is a car that's easier to stall. I can kind of tell with the clutch feel. So you're definitely going to want to have a little bit of experience with this one. I'm gonna have to wait for this person to go out, because I got to angle like crazy so I don't scrape the front splitter. That's one thing you got to know about these Mustangs, is they're pretty low to the ground. And so you gotta go out of driveways sideways like that so you don't scrape the front end. And the turn signal, if you listen, it's kind of slower because it's doing the sequential thing, which is cool with the lights where it goes dit, 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 dit. It's a cool thing with the Mustangs. Feels good. Everyone complains about this transmission. And everyone wants the Tremec, right? Pop this into sport mode, by the way. But you know, this transmission, although it's not quite as precise as the Tremec, it's still a really good manual transmission, honestly. Still feels pretty notchy into the gears, into the gates rather, I should say. And I like the overall feel of the shifter head. So like, yeah, I mean, you know, the Mach 1 with the Tremec, I do prefer that, but I don't think that this is a bad transmission. And you know, the fact that we still can get a manual in the Mustang, right, when everyone else is like automatic only with everything, so it's a cool thing for us to be able to have. Man, that V8. So we're gonna get our full-blown acceleration here. Oh man, gotta love that V8 power. It's easy to rev match downshift, and like I said, it's notchy into the gates. Steering on it's really good too. I love how the Mustang drives. That's why I bought one. Obviously I bought the stupid, crazy expensive one, but you know, still a Mustang nonetheless. So summing things up, I love how this GT looks. I think that it drives really well. Now, automatic versus manual, I think it's just going to depend. If you want the fastest possible Mustang, yeah, the automatic's going to be quicker with that 10-speed. But if you want more of a fun driving experience, the manual is definitely going to be the route to go. And although every journalist, you know, gives this manual transmission a lot of crap, and by the way, that's an interesting color on the Lightning. Anyways, although a lot of journalists give this manual a lot of crap, it's honestly not as bad as what people say. It's still a pretty solid manual transmission. Can we make it over the curb? Yes, the Mustang has enough ground clearance. We should take this bad boy off-road. That's all.